Death. So in my last video I said that I was a death girl, by which I meant that among all the important for humanity concepts like love or happiness or wisdom, I prefer death. Um, now, I have to say that I'm an atheist, whatever. So when I say death, yeah, the end of existence. So I don't believe in any gods or afterlife or other funny stuff. It's just, yeah, the ultimate end there. Um, so I really enjoy the concept. I think it should be introduced more like in art, books and movies. Um, I think it's one of the best plot twists ever, and I think that the hero should die. Uh, so like the cultural concept, I really enjoy it. Even more, I enjoy the philosophical concept. Um, First, I will give you like my personal story with Dash. So I realized what death is. I understood that people are mortal quite late in my life. It should be like when I was over 10, or like that. This is certain that I was over 10, and probably even closer to like 12. Before that, it wasn't quite real for me. mm, I didn't really understand, like I didn't really feel what a person was. So lack of a person, I didn't think about it. I didn't care. Then, I guess it started not even with the death itself. It started with the concept of eternity, and in my case, it was like the expanding universe. And these two thoughts, the lack of my existence and uh, the endless expanding into nothingness, they kind of like bothered me, really was very perplexing for me, and I started to think about it. Wasn't very often, but still I remember yeah, like going to bed with the thought about universe, fuck it. And I had this funny reaction. It's mostly like a physical reaction, I guess. When you go into that direction, when I go into that direction, like started to imagine, well, how is it endless? Like, well, you go and there is no end. You kind of want to find some end there, but it's not there. So I started to think like that, and my brain just would refuse to continue. It would just no, not doing this, no, and gave me this physical sensation of sort of like dark excitement or something. So it is excitement, but not a pleasant one. Um, then the expanding endless universe thing, it just went away. I don't remember when I lost it, but I stopped thinking about it. It um, doesn't give me any feeling anymore. The death is still here, and I think about much more often now than when I was a child. Um, and it happens. Well, I don't think about in this particular imagining way deliberately. It just happens sometimes. I sit like on a bus or I wash the dishes, and it just pops into my mind, and I immediately roll down that road like, let me imagine how it would be when there is no me. And I still get the physical reaction, but um, well, when I was a child, it was like really very like it was a defining thing for me. But now it's not very important. I just understand that it is a physical reaction, nothing more, nothing less. um, the more important parts would be yeah, well, the like, how do I think about it? Because uh, in the like non-believers who try to wrap their heads around it, there are several common ideas, and the most common one I think would be the, like, yeah, when you're dead you will feel exactly as you felt when you weren't born yet. And um, I don't really agree with it, because, well, yeah, like, logically, yeah, like, if you just look at the words, yeah, but it doesn't give me the same feeling, because, well, it's not only me. I think we humans care more about the future than about the past, because, like, say somebody told me then that I will give you $100 tomorrow, I would be much more happy uh, than if that person told me, well, I gave you $100 when you were 2 years old. I wouldn't care much about what happened when I was 2 years old. um, so the same goes for the unborn idea. Doesn't really do anything for me. Then the second one, uh, the common one, would be going to sleep. Mm, like, yeah, like, death is just like that moment when you're asleep and unconscious. That doesn't really give me the right feeling, because maybe for the people who don't remember many of their dreams, and who don't feel that they're asleep, who are just lost there in the nothing, maybe it is right. I don't know, I guess it should be, but uh, I really remember many of my dreams. I don't know if it's the most of them, but really a lot of them. I guess like several per night, uh, and many of the times, like a lot of the times, I feel that I'm asleep. I understand that I'm unconscious, and uh, well, that doesn't really do it for me, because for me dreams is like a very active part of my life. It's not the blank sheet there. Uh, so I really struggled with finding the appropriate um, comparison for me, like death comparison, and I guess I kind of got some lost here, um, because I had an accident and I fainted. So that gave me the idea. Before that, the only clue I had was that there were several, well, too many times in my life when I felt physically bad. And I don't mean it takes a certain kind of pain. It's not just the regular pain, like you hit your arm or something, or like tooth pain or something. No, it doesn't do that. But if you if, like, I remember the many times when I had food poisoning. So it's like pain and dizziness and the puking and that certain weird sensation that you kind of don't feel your limbs, and it's you feel very tired and that kind of shit. I remember those times. I remember that it gives me the very real understanding that I am in my body, that I am my body, and that actually, like, my body sort of generates me. And at those times, I don't want the the pain to end. I want everything to end. I want just the to go out of the existence, because the fading away of pain and dizziness, it doesn't feel the right way, just want everything to stop. Uh, so that was my only hint mm, until the last year. And uh, well, yeah, my conclusion was that it's just no more me. uh, uh, but I remembered the two moments of that story. One was when I woke up, uh, when I came back after I fainted, and the moment just before I fainted. So the moment when I came back, it's more of a fun one, because, well, I fainted for a reason, and that reason was that I felt really, really terrible. And so uh, when I started to come to my senses, well, the senses started to work, and I still felt shitty, and I was like, no, 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 I'm not going there, sorry, I'm going back. Like, let me dive back into that warm, dark liquid. Yeah, it felt like warm, dark liquid there when I was waking up, because before that it just, there was nobody to feel it. Um, but it's more of a fun one. I'm really more focused on the moment before I fainted. Um, I felt really, really shitty, and it was like increasing, the badness of it was increasing with every second, so it was worse, 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 and I was like on the very edge. And I don't remember the exact moment of, you know, um, fainting, but I remember like being very, very close, and I cannot describe it, but I remember the sensation, and it's, oh, an insect, and it's a very was a very interesting one for me. Um, so that and the lack of myself, the lack of my person, that really gave me a hint about how I think about death, about, you know, not death, but the idea of not being there. So for me, it's now the fainting thing, not the unborn or going to sleep thing. And so it's the big part um, of the death thing. But another big part, um, that was more like emotional imagining part. The another big part is just the mental, the thinking about it part, like on the philosophical one. And like if you get rid of all these physical reactions or emotions or like imagination ideas, if you stick to the facts, it's like yeah, not being there, uh, it's sort of neutral. It kind of steals your could have been future experience, but uh, the it's really tied to the concept of life here, like the death comes with life. So um, I think that life should be judged and evaluated by its content. So if the content is bad, then well, death is welcomed, and if it's good, well, you know, sucks, but you're still gonna die. um, so um, I I have sort of a mental collection of the thoughts about death I really enjoy. Sadly, they're not really mine, but they, you know, they resonated with me, and the this idea I just described, the, yeah, like taking away your future experience and the value of life and that stuff. Uh, well, I had these thoughts long before, but they were shaped and trimmed. um, sorry, by it was a course of lectures by a professor in the Yale University online course. Like, I watched it on YouTube, and like the I really recommend it. First, because the name is just priceless. It goes death with Shelley Kagan. It's just the best thing ever. When I saw it, I understood there is no way I'm not watching this. I just have to do this. It's like like my duty to do it. So those lectures, they were very enjoyable for me. I was listening to them for maybe like 2 weeks because it's a long course, and these lectures, they were the highlight of my days back then. So the course is about yeah, the philosophy of death. So the lecturer, the professor, he explains like what death is, and um, like he considers if it's bad or not, and they kind of decide, yeah, it's kind of badish, and then they move to life, like how to evaluate life, and then to the topic of of suicide. And um, it is very enjoyable. I don't agree with it in certain parts, but the general idea, yeah, I do subscribe to that. And it's like now it's a very important part of my death thoughts collection. Now, it's more of a serious part.